I'm Simon Littlewood, International Director of Random House, and I'm your chair for this next particularly international session. Understandably, the dominant focus of much of the digital debate amongst this constituency has been the English-speaking territories, where for consumer publishers in particular, the recent growth has of course been exponential. But now that those growth curves are becoming less steep, closer scrutiny is being given to major non-English language territories, where low single-figure growth contrasts with significant double-figure proportions elsewhere. In particular, there is recognition both of the link between local language and English language development, and that other cultural, commercial, and infrastructural factors may be at work. Here then to offer us their insights into the digital market in 4 key countries: Russia, South Korea, our market focus country, of course, this year, China and Mexico, are pioneering experts in their fields and territories. We'll run in the order that I just gave you, starting with Sergei Anuriev, who is the CEO of LitRes Russia. It's a leading distributor and retailer of licensed electronic and audiobooks in Russia and in adjacent territories. LitRes partners with Russia's largest publishing houses. It partners with authors too, and with a number of local and international partners, including Google and Apple. Then here on my left, Sukhwan Pol is Managing Director and COO of South Korea's biggest online bookstore, yes24.com. He's currently in charge of developing a new ebook reading platform and indeed a related LCD ebook device to go with it. Mm-hmm. And when you wrote to me, you said that it was just about to be released in March. So can I say that it's now out?
No, we've been waiting, but I have a working sample in my bag, but we'll probably see that on the presentation.
In the presentation, very good. Daishin works for a team, she's at the far end of the table, that focuses on digital publishing and reading service. It's called Douban Read, and this model encourages writers who are not professionals, who are new writers, to publish their non-fiction works with the assistance of the platform. And then finally, a colleague that I've had the pleasure of meeting today, Carmen Ospina, is the Director of Digital Strategy and Business Development for Spain and Latin America at Penguin Random House. She oversees the group's digital marketing team, as well as its international sales in both print and digital. She started life in Colombia, but has led a cosmopolitan existence working in New York and is now in Barcelona. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your panel. We'll go straight through with relatively short presentations in the order that I've given, and then if we've got some time, there will be questions. I should add, just before we kick off, that I did say to the panelists that it would be good if they looked across the sectors, but of course inevitably their remarks and insights will be coloured by the particular area of focus. So without more ado, Sergei, may I ask you to kick us off? Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Simon, thank you that you gave me an honor to present Russian country first. I know that there was a lot of talks about Russia in the last couple of months, but since we need to settle an appropriate context of talking about Russian ebook market update, I'd like Joshua to run a short movie about Russian market and hope you will like it.
For most of you, Russia is for sure a terra incognita in the world of publishing. But at the same time, Russia is the leading European country by the number of internet users, has the largest in Europe and 4th in the world number of mobile users, is a home to these internet companies: Yandex, Kaspersky, Mail.ru Group, Vkontakte, Nginx, which hosts 12% of the world's sites, who'd guess? Kiwi, Ozon. All this makes Russia the most promising e-book market in the future. And we agree with that. But not only in the future. The Russian e-book market is rapidly growing and is going to get 5% of the total book market in the next 2 to 3 years. Litres is not the only player in this market, but we provide e-books for all our partners and rivals. Litres has also sold about 100,000 copies of Shades of Grey trilogy, more than 10,000 copies of Inferno in less than a month, more than 2 million copies of e-books in 2013. E-books are our core business and competence. That's why we are seriously into recommendations and personalization, active content discovery and promotion. Longtail does not just sit in the depth of our database. Every book finds its reader. Russia, the most promising market for your e-books. Welcome.
That was about our market. So let me point out some key characteristics of our market, and maybe that will help you to develop your own ebook market and use our experience. So it was told that the Russian market is not so big as it may seem. About 15 million USD, and last year we see it double every year. Hope it will do this year also. In presentation there was a brief story of Litres. We've managed the biggest, I think, internet resource that is specialized in selling ebooks and downloadable audiobooks. We cooperate with a number of internet platforms and sites and companies that also specialized or non-specialized in ebook sales. Try to collect all the audience we can and to motivate them to buy legal ebooks. So that's brief numbers of our market. It's in rubles. So if you know exchange rates, it will be very easy to understand what's the volume in USD and pounds, but in the movie there were figures in USD, so it's easier to understand that. We hope that in the next 2 or 3 years it would be around 70, maybe 60 million of USD, and the total paper book market is about 2 billion USD in Russia, so we hope we will reach maybe 5% of the market. Litres has some big figures in our history, and about 7 million Apple app users and more than 7 million books sold since we've started, and more than 2 million of books sold last year. We hope we'll sell about 5 million of books this year. So we cooperate with all major publishers in Russia. We have a lot of referrals. It's maybe a very specific issue for Russia. I will tell it in details, but if we will analyze the sources of traffic and we'll compare it to any developed market, we will see that the search engines give us not the biggest portion of traffic and the audience, and the major part of audience comes from so-called referrals. It's a authors website, authors group, former pirate resources, publishing house resources, and all this stuff that give us audience and that help us to sell ebooks. It's very interesting that in Russia our applications managed to sell and to be the most revenue generating application in App Store and even in Android. So it's possible to sell legally books in Russia, and we do it. And we even outbid companies that develop games and other applications. That was briefly told that we have a number of ways to acquire audience. but it's very specific for us that for sure we use all the marketing mixes you use in your countries, but since you maybe heard that in Russia there is a huge portion of content to be consumed illegally, we use illegal resources as also a very important channel of marketing mix for us to acquire audience. And in Russia, I think that the answer for this question would be no in the 90% of cases, maybe in your countries also. So typically we believe that that's not the customer guilty that he or she managed to download books for free. It's of course at the beginning of 2000s, it was a very strong promotional tool for ebooks in Russia, because I think that 5 or 7 years ago, Russia was the most ebook reading country, because many books were available for free, and many people were reading it for free, and that gave us a huge momentum to develop legal way of selling ebooks, because a lot of audience knew that what is ebook, how it could be written on different devices and all this stuff. We see that right now, if a customer can find sources of illegal books, that's the problem of us and of publishers. But what we should concentrate on is on the service. It's totally inappropriate if a customer can find a better service in an illegal way of sphere of market than from us. So it's a very interesting statistic we've made at the end of last year. We've asked our customers whether they know or not if there are a lot of illegal sources of ebooks. We thought that maybe half of our customer database knows and half does not, and that's why they come to us and buy a book. And the survey revealed that 95% of people know that there are illegal sources of ebooks, and they still buy books from us from legal resources. And then we've asked them a question, so why you buy a book from a legal resource if you know that you can get a book for free? And the answers gave us a lot of sense of what we should concentrate on while we develop in our service and our partner develop their service. The first answer is that they like the selection, but if you will compare the selection of our site with the leading illegal resources, we will have 3 or 4 times less selection of books. But since we can make the user interface much more friendly for choosing the right book, for some of them the legal resources become much more easier to choose the right book to read. So they see that there are a wider selection than on the illegal resources, where you can, in optimistic scenario, see the list of books and try to choose the right you want. And the second answer was that I want to reward in this way the author, the book I like, and I think that I have to reward for this. And that's the next issue we try to concentrate on. So we communicate with authors, with publishers, to emphasize while they communicate with their audience that they make the ebooks available in a legal way, and you should go there, for example, at our resources and buy a book, and from these resources I will get a huge portion of money in my pocket. So if you like my book, going by. And the third answer, I found the book that I need also is corresponding with the selection of books on the legal resources in comparison with the legal resources. We should make e-books more available, better seen for audience. That's the answer. And also the fourth answer reflects the characteristics of Russian e-book market. People used to read books on different devices even before Apple launched iBooks, even before Kindle launched, or Amazon Kindle launched, Amazon launched Kindle. So people at that time were reading e-books on their palms, computers, even non-smart phones. So they know how to deal with the book and how to convert it from one format to another. So when we deal with the piracy, first of all we try to become, because it's impossible, really impossible to deal simultaneously with the million of pirate resources that are managed by people that have a lot of free time, that can sacrifice their whole life for growing their own resources. And you have only your work time, and you have to concentrate on the priorities. So that's why we have a process of permanent monitoring of search results. And after that, we select each pirate resources and try to understand if it's a big pirate site or not. And only after that, we try to deal with big pirates and to make them our partners, and to give us audience and to promote legal way of reading. And that's how we deal with piracy. We try to convert the audience to legal books buyer, not just to close them, but to convert. That's how our process looks like. So we have a constant monitoring, then appraisal on the basic criteria like traffic, number of unique users, and the potential selection of ebooks or sales. And then we make some legal procedures, but basically we emphasize on cooperation discussions of how they can be moved to a legal sphere. And if we have nothing to discuss, then we just make deletion enforcement from Google, from Apple Store, and after that we come back to permanent monitoring. And that's how we increase audience, even using the specific characteristics of our market. And that's how we see the influence of all these factors, and try to communicate with publishers that the potential absence of interest to digital book market from publishers, that's not the reason, that's the result. The result of that they and we have a lack of legal digital books. They didn't bought rights from foreign agencies, from their authors, or just didn't think about that this book could be sold in the e-book format. So we have no title, then customer cannot find this title in a legal shop. And since the publishers promote this book offline, customer goes online and trying to find this book in the e-book format. It doesn't exist in a legal way, so they download it from pirate resources. That's why pirate resources grow in numbers. And then very little books are bought from legal resources, and then publishers do not get enough money and do not become interested in this market to develop and to increase their assortment, selection, and portfolio. And then this circle begins again. So that are major points that we try to influence to make our digital market grow. We communicate with publishers that they need to make all their books available in the ebook format. We try to cooperate with them in promotion to customer that there are some legal resources where you can buy this book legally with no problem. So that's why we with them try to increase our numbers and numbers of our partners that sell books legally. That's how the books begin to be sold legally, and that's how publishers begin to get some money from this market.
In the interest of time, I will just move straight on to Korea.
Yeah, can I have that?
Would you like the clicker?
Thank you.
He needs the clicker.
Let's see if my slide's coming up. Oh, it's not.
Korean slides coming up. I think you should begin, and I'll just have a quick word around the back.
Sure. Afternoon. My name is Seok-Hwan Kim. I'm a CEO of Yes24.com. I'm going to talk about Korean ebook market. Well, but since my slide is not up, well, right there. So, about to begin. Yes24.
Harry Potter's done it.
Sure. Yeah, I'd like to introduce my company to you. It's called Yes24.com, established in 1999, and it has since been always #1 in Korean online book market. The company has about $500 million in revenue as of 2013, and that's about 40% of total books sold on internet. X24 also has about 15% market share online, offline combined. Let's have a look at the current state of ebook market in Korea. We assume that the size of the market was around $55 million in year 2012. There's no official figure on 2013 yet, so please bear with it. Notable players in the year are 3 of them that I listed on the slide. One is Readybooks, which only sells ebook. And also 2 other players. One is #1 portal in Korea. It's Google in Korea. And the other one is #1 cellular phone carrier, which also offers landline, broadband, ISPs, and plus IPTV. And I'm sorry that the color is kind of mixed up. You probably have a hard time finding my company, but it only has 4% share back in 2012. But for your information, there is no official data yet, but we have a 100% increase in the ebook sales last year. So these are the key facts until last year. Make it short, each key players in the market has their own success story in their field, and they want to see new growth in ebook sector. Everybody thinks that the future of publishing is ebook, and everyone wants to stake on it. So there were like 18, 20 players, heavily backed by conglomerates and other like venture capitals and as well. But the market has quickly started to change since last year. This P5, I'm sorry. The most notable event that happened at the end of last year through the first half of this year is that the market is consolidating. I cannot give out the names of the companies who are withdrawing from the market, so let me put this in another way. We had about 8 major players in the market at the beginning of the year, but it will seem like less than half will be surviving at the end of this year. The market is still growing at 40% a year range, but the scale of economy does not favor the ebook only sellers in Korea. The market was, please remember that the market is pretty small size based on the compared to the regular book sales. Then how Yes24 is outgrowing the market? 3 years ago, we and the other 2 online bookstores formed a joint venture with the publishing houses called Korean EPUB. And it took a couple of years to align all the strategies of the stakeholders, but somehow the strategy is paying off. So this is potential threats in the market. The primary medium for viewing ebook is not in the hand of ebook sellers. All tablets and phones are made by global companies, as you know. And the Amazon is also coming into the Korean market. They announced it the end of last year due to the huge success of the Kindle device in both Japan and China. And the third and the most important thing is that our researches and customer feedback suggest that the Korean customers are not satisfied with the level of services that we are providing. You will probably hear this over the book fair starting tomorrow, but the Korean customers are so savvy in technology that they really no global services had ever had the success competing in the Korean business in Korean market. So the problem is, due to the commoditized smartphones and tablets, people has more access to digitalized contents. So people's awareness in ebook market is higher than ever, but even though new users are coming in, most of them doesn't become returning customers. Number of users are increasing very fast, as you can see, but most of them abandon ebook reading after their first book. So we are trying to make a way to improve the customer experience. There are new wave of contents starts to appear in Korean market. As I just mentioned, it's faster than any other market in the world. There are online services specialized in serial publications of science fiction and romance stories. And there are different from traditional digitalized comic books. Koreans were forced to have a service with vertically scrollable style manhwa, or probably have a manga would be easier to understand. Comic book format named Webtoon, and it's really huge in Korea. There are also other new content formats available in the market that are designed to be consumed on smartphones and tablet devices. And the third one is that probably the most thing that we learned in the market, and we see the signs that over the course of time, the ebooks will have a horizontal connection to each other, possibly over search engine or wiki-like medium, and over specific topics within contents themselves. In other words, we're seeing that a digitalization of contents is converging itself as a whole thing. So this next slide is talking about our yet-to-release device. Yeah, it's delaying because Amazon is coming in. We wanted to make it perfect. But this is a new LCD device that we released within the month of April, I promise. And this has 2 distinctive features. One is side flip button. You can flip your pages with just touch on the side of the device. And this is the second function. It's actually a scientific breakthrough. We probably gonna publish journal sometime soon. This new device will have a function to replace your glasses. It only works on half of the 50% of people now. So soon or later, you will be able to read books without your glasses on LCD platform. So, like everyone else is saying, the future is here, both business and technology-wise. But we're trying to converge a lot of different technologies, different types of formats of the contents. And we made the convergence in value chains with the retailers and publishing houses to create the newer value or added value to the customers in the market. I'll let it pass the minute. Well, this is all I prepared. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Seok Kwan. And now we'll move straight away to Daishin and China.
Good morning. My name is Dai Qing, and I'm the Senior Director in Douban.com. And we're based in Beijing. And before I start doing digital publishing, I was practicing product design for 6 years, doing research on users' requirements and some user interface design for different internet products. And about 2 years ago, my team has focused on the digital publishing, and we start a new product line. And also, it is one of our business unit in Douban.com. So, a little introduction about Douban. Douban was established in 2005, and founder was Dr. Yang Bo. It is a very interesting platform. It contains books, movies, music, and groups, all the cultural stuff, and people are discussing and writing reviews and ratings of this stuff. So, and now we have 200 million users visit our website and apps per month. And we are very famous in China for we provide the high quality user generated content. And it is very important, and for we have very good credit in books rating, movies rating, and music recommendations. So this is some screenshot of our apps, and the top is a streaming radio service like Pandora, and the Douban Read is the left one. Then is our app on iOS and Android, and the right one is our moving app. And people will go this moving app to check how much is the score of this movie, and they decide whether they should go to the moving theater to see it. But we have a lot of more service than this. Okay, when we decided to talk about Chinese digital market, there is some backgrounds. First, Kindle has launched just last year. It is very different compared to a lot of European countries, and our retail book market is about 500 million, and this number has a little growth year by year until 2012. This number decreased at the first time. It is a big thing in publishing industry because almost 10 years we increased year by year, and the other important difference is in China, digital reading divided into two different contents, or we can say different markets, and one is we called the super long serialized novel, and they told this content has been around for 8 years. So a lot of digital readers, they are not normally we called ebook readers. They read such content. So it is very different from European countries. And the real similar ebook business has established since 2012. So it is it is amazing thing that this super long serialized novel, this business has come to $1 million industry and market, but our real ebook business has only maybe 2 million. The biggest one in our industry in real ebooks is 2 million. So maybe this is the biggest difference in Chinese market compared to others. I talked about the retail market, the fail. Actually, it first failed in 2012, but in 2013, this is the percentage, and this is the reduced revenue. And people will ask, is it because the digital market has rising and the money goes to ebooks? No, actually, the money just lost. They didn't go to ebooks. In last year, our biggest ebook service, maybe they got $3 million, but only 3 million. It a little smaller than this number. So what changed in 2000 and last year? First, our ebook titles has increased by 10 times, and because I just mentioned the real business has started the year before last year. So last year our publish house has become very open, and they authorized the ebook rights to mailing channels, and a lot of new books they can make ebook and the paperback one be launched at the same time. We didn't have the titles problems maybe in Chinese market because of the open publishers. But the revenue just I mentioned is still not very big, and we are in a very early stage. So that's the two different market I just mentioned. One is this super long serialized novel. I can give some explanation. A super long, how long is a super long? Yeah. The super long means a typical novel means 4 million words. 4 million words. And how can a writer write 4 million words? He updates day by day, and every day he updates about 10,000 words, and he can continue these updates maybe sometimes 1 or 2 years. So his big fans was eagerly waiting to see these updates and paid for every day's new chapter. So this is very interesting model in China, and they started about 8 years ago. So at 8 years ago, there is no apps, no e-ink readers, nothing. And they just waiting on the PC web page to wait it for the new chapter. But this is very specific genre. That means this content never be a mass market. This genre may be someone live in the modern times, and they travel into the ancient times, and how he become maybe a soldier or emperor, and he do something. It is a very big genre in this type of content. And other content about how someone practice to be immortal, and such kind of content can be write to 4 million words. And I just said this content has some very specific genre, and it is different from books, from the content of books. And the ebooks, everyone is very familiar, and we started the ebook business 2 years ago. The main player. And besides the 2 different content, we have something new. Something new is what Douban Read was practicing, and I think it is maybe a little inspiration. First, we do self-publishing, but we are not such long serialized content. We serious content, like books content. Especially, we are focused on non-fiction, because although the internet is full of Wikipedia, like Quora, like such internet service, but a non-fiction content with real expert experience is very rare and valuable to our readers. And another, we are trying to make this self-publishing not a book. We invent a lot of new product form like short stories. This maybe 50,000 words. You can finish reading in 2 hours. We do short stories. We do themed column that writers can write wealth management columns, and he can update for 20 chapter and such things. And we also develop a very direct platform that authors can communicate with their readers directly. For example, the readers can ask the author question, I have such money and how can I manage it? And because it is a paid user, so the writer will give him an answer. And so we combined all these difference together and want to make some difference in this digital publishing market.
How much more have we got to go? Daishin, I think we need to be drawing to a close quite soon.
It is the last page.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and the biggest challenge here is outside the digital publishing industry. The time be fragmented, and the right picture is the most largest app called WeChat, and a lot of media become account on WeChat, and people read a lot, but they do not read a book. So it is the most biggest challenge that not publishing are facing, but digital publishing is also facing out. So it is became worse and worse in China nowadays. So I think the most important market question is what's the real and important value should digital publishing provide to readers nowadays? So this is the question I concerned, and I don't know, and thank you.
Thank you, Daishin. And finally, Carmen.
I was going to do it. Should I do like this? Why is it not working? Okay, it worked. So I'll go quickly over Mexico. Mexico, as you know, is the largest Spanish-speaking market in the world, and its proximity to the U.S. Has made it the country where ebook adoption in Latin America is leading ebook adoption in Latin America, basically. Distribution of foreign print books is very limited, so the digital brings an opportunity for publishers like you in the UK. And the government is strongly supporting ebooks, with the president setting an ambitious goal of digitizing the 50,000 titles that have been published by government institutions like Conaculta or strong publishing ventures like Fondo de Cultura Económica. Reaching Mexico is also an opportunity because once you reach Mexico, you reach the Americas and the Spanish-speaking countries in the Americas. So it's 500 million speakers worldwide. If we look at the most important markets, you would have the States, you would have, after Mexico, you have the States, you have Colombia, and probably Chile, even before Argentina. These are all markets that, as soon as you sign with the retailers in Mexico, you will reach immediately as well. In terms of tablet penetration, Mexico surpasses Brazil in what's tablet and smartphone penetration, with 65% tablet penetration and 72% smartphone penetration. Apple leads, and we see that reflected in when we're going to look at the retailers there. Apple obviously leads. It's expected that in 2016, sales of tablets are expected to reach 4.3 million units. So it's a market that's growing fast. In the smartphone sphere, we have BlackBerry still leading, Samsung before Nokia and Apple. But of course, the ones who are growing are Apple and Samsung, so it's no surprise. Online purchase preferences, internet use is pretty low compared to other countries, but what we see is a trend in the past 2 years of Mexicans buying more and more content online. So you see the circle around the books and magazines area, but also music and movies has grown. So it's definitely an area of interest, and it has come with the launch of Kindle and with local retailers launching their online stores as well. The publishing landscape, there are 122 publishers. That's excluding public institutions that publish a lot. The government funds a lot of the publishing in Mexico. 24 titles were published locally in 2012. The total book market is estimated in 584 million. 30% of that is the trade market. And when we go to units sold of local titles, we see that the government sales represent 39% of total sales. So that's why geography and history and arts, culture and politics, and K through 12 are very strong. But we also see that imports are very important. It's a market where publishers imported 9.9 million units into Mexico in 2012. You have here the division by sector, with trade bringing in, for instance, 33% of the titles from Spain mostly, and sales of imported books rising by 7% in 2012. Sales by channel, we also see that the government, here we see clearly that the government sales are a very important channel for text publishing. We also see that internet sales are pretty low still compared to other channels, and the rest is pretty obvious for trade, bookstores, and self-service and department stores are the hub. The ebook marketplace, we have the major international players present, Google, Apple, and Amazon. There are also several local and Latin American accounts as well, Gandhi and Sanborns, which are huge bookstores and department stores in Mexico for print books, have launched their digital platforms. And you also have Argentine platforms such as Baja Libros launching in Mexico, and a few Spanish players going into Mexico as well. The big three publishers, Penguin Random House, Planeta, and Santillana, we all have local publishing programs in Mexico, and we import a lot of the books that we publish in Spain and in the countries in Latin America into Mexico. There's no VAT for ebooks, which is great, especially when you work in Spain and the VAT is so high for ebooks. There's a fixed price law for the first 18 months where retailers cannot discount the price set by the publisher. And there's a pretty well-established distributor that reaches most of the local small retailers as well as the big accounts called Libranda that would allow you to get into that market easily. What has been the experience for Penguin Random House? Well, we started in October 2012 with basically no market at all, and with the launch of Apple on that date, the market really exploded really fast. After that, we've seen the launch of Google Play in March 2013, and Amazon came in a little later in September 2013. Those three players are the dominant players in the market, and they've been pushing the market to grow significantly in the past year. Our share is growing quickly. If you see here, this is for Penguin Random House as well. So from last year to this year, Mexico has grown from 30% to 20% share. So that's a huge increase. And going back to that map of the whole of Latin America, we can see that of America, because it included the US, we can see that actually with Spain still growing, not that fast, but growing in the ebook market, Latin America has gained an important share. So it's a market that's growing and where there's a huge opportunity for English language titles as well. Business models to watch out for that are going to be important in Mexico. We have the lending to libraries, with the government spending so much money in digital programs, and in their library program, Conaculta would be a partner to tap into. And then you also have subscription models. These are two that we'll probably see in Mexico pretty soon. They're partnering with telcos in Mexico, with 24 Symbols and Nubico. And this is probably a business model that may stick in Mexico and the rest of Latin America. Challenges: we have localization of storefronts. The major accounts that have launched are still, managing Spanish globally, so it's really hard to get them to localize the content for the Mexican consumer. That's going to be a challenge. Oh, sorry, I'm changing the slide here. So yeah, localization of storefronts is an issue. Then we have few publishers in Mexico digitizing their catalogs, so that still brings, it's a challenge because the Mexican consumer is not finding the local titles in digital format. Piracy is a huge issue in Mexico. This data that I have here is for Spain, but we assume that it should be pretty similar in Mexico. Basically, it's the number of books downloaded per device in the country. So in Spain, we have a lot of device sales, but 0.6 ebooks downloaded per device, compared to France and Germany that are around the 4.6. Internet adoption hit just 40.5% in Mexico in 2012. That's a rate that's significantly lower for the average Latin America, but it's still the market where we're seeing the most ebook sales in the region. And then rights and pricing may be an issue for publishers, as mostly for Spanish language publishers, but can be an issue too for English language publishers, as the US market is a reference. So when you price your books for Mexico, you have to know that Mexicans look at the US market, they look at Amazon.com, and they compare prices all the time. And that's it for me.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I sense that we could have trebled the time allotted to this session and still not exhausted the debate that it would have provoked. I feel that it's been as interesting for the things that the panelists have not been allowed to say as for everything that they have given us. We've heard about the key thing of combating piracy. The most important tactic for combating piracy is legitimate availability, as we've been hearing from Sergei. We've heard about a new device. We've heard about something that we would probably call an online soap opera. A novel that runs for 8 years online is a phenomenon that we could well look at. And we've heard about Mexico as an enormous market, still not realizing its potential, but also as a portal to the rest of Latin America. I wish we had time for questions, but our panelists will be here for lunch and ready to be buttonholed if that's what you'd like to do. Thank you very much indeed.